What is up, guys? Welcome back. This is a new episode of Unlocking the Realm, Fallout Edition. I'm Fight, and here with me today we have...
Squid.
Oh, Panda.
And Vasquez.
So let's get into this. I mean, there's no time to crawl out through the Fallout like right now. The opening scene, we open with Life in the Vault with our protagonist, who... I forget her name, which is really bad. I was just watching the episode.
Lucy.
Lucy, yeah. How did I forget
McLean?
Lucy?
Lucy McLean?
McLean? It's McLean.
McLean?
I do remember the McLean part. Throwing back to Die Hard, McLean. Wonder if they're related. Can we tie Die Hard to Fallout series?
I don't know.
Does it make Fallout a Christmas show?
I think that's a big stretch.
I think they do mention Christmas lights and stuff, so I will make it a Christmas show.
I don't know. It was pretty, what's called summery in that birthday party.
I mean, it's a Fallout winner somewhere. All right, so who wants to throw in first with the first scene? Anybody got something that caught their eyes this episode?
I was just excited when we were seeing the pre-war stuff to see like the commercials and everything that they were throwing on there, and then them putting like Grognak in. I thought that was pretty cool to see like the actual cartoon and everything.
Oh, yeah. That, and then also when the daughter's like, why didn't you do the thumbs up, Daddy? Not knowing the whole circumstance behind everything. So, that was a quick little tie-in of, the Pip-Boy.
Yeah. Heartbreaking timing for her to learn that.
Yeah, no, well, that gives us, like, I never knew why they did, like, the thumbs up. It was always just a Fallout bubble, the bobblehead thing.
Yeah.
And now it's nice to see kind of where it came from or how. It was, like, just random. Well, let me not talk. I did watch. So everybody else here watched one episode. I cannot control myself and watched more than one episode when they release this way. They do tell us where the thumbs up comes from later on, and it's so exciting to see.
Oh.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's just a little like treat to Fallout fans. I know the one thing that came out to me when we're talking about the past, I was expecting like real nasally announcers, kind of like in the old days. So I was like, Sparky Clean here for
Yeah.
kind of aesthetic, but they didn't really do that, which was kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
They showed Nuka-Cola immediately at the party, too, which was cool.
Yes, it did.
I think we've had Nuka-Cola. What else? We had an actual pony, which if you play Fallout 76, or no, it's Fallout 4 that has the Buttercup pony.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pony. So it's nice to see an actual horse in the Fallout series and not...
Not a buttercup.
I always try to collect all of the pieces in Fallout 4, and I'm like, I'm going to put them over here.
It's okay. So what ties, I guess where I like to start at is we do get the backstory of Lucy and McLean and the Vault, which is, it's nice to see, but I think from a Fallout lore, we've all kind of seen that in the games, so it's nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
I think what I enjoy really seeing is they don't explain it very well how Fallout 30, or the Vault 33 and Vault 32, kind of, they send people off to get married.
31 as well? Maybe?
31.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the overseer
Yeah.
was from 31.
Well, it seemed like, so they have the outer door. It seems like maybe these vaults are all connected. Like it's a couple different communities. Because you see the door to 33, or well, 32 to 33. And it looked like, okay, those are connected together, but not to the outside. So I wonder how many vaults are in there because vaults are always tests.
Yeah.
So how many vaults in different communities do they put in here for these tests?
Well, and if they're all connected, the test has to kind of be similar between all the vaults, or maybe all the vaults are part of the same test.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, was because if you put, there's no easier way to test like different small changes than having a controlled area. And we saw that 33 had the exact same setup. They had the same crops and everything as 32. So this way they'd be able just to tweak small things in each one and see what changed.
Yep. Because I know if like one of the vaults had only one female in the entire vault of males, so like obviously you can't do something like that.
Yeah.
Not with. I think they're told that they're supposed to repopulate the planet when the radiation levels die down enough. So like obviously it can't be that. But there's some kind of experiment going on, and I'm excited to figure out what the experiment is as we go out throughout the series.
If If there's that many different vaults all connected, I'm wondering if there's an overall overseer for all of them too.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Because if that's the experiment, someone's got to be overseeing the whole thing.
Or just be a game master.
Yeah, basically.
Post-apocalyptic D&D. Let's go. Love it. I guess so. That brings us into when they are interconnecting the marriage. I 1000% called it was Raiders when they first stepped out of the vault door, and like I just maybe just because I played the mobile game. I think I was mentioning this before we started recording. Like in the games, you don't really see or hear of Raiders. I think they do mention Raiders taking over vaults. I mean, we pulled a vault. I think it's Vault 97 in Fallout New Vegas, the one with the Fiends in it. The Fiends have taken over the control of the vault on the western side of New Vegas, and you have to go in and kill Driver. No, not Driver. It's the guy Motorhead is the one you go in and kill. So in Fallout New Vegas, you go into a vault to kill a fiend named Motorhead, and he has 2 dogs. So that's how I kind of pictured it back to the games too of Raiders being in vaults. But yeah.
I had just thought, so when they first came through, I was like, oh, they're lying about how bad this famine is. Like, clearly these guys aren't as well off. And then I started clocking things like, oh, they have a lot of tattoos. That's not normal. They have a lot of scars, so they've been seeing some battle. So I was thinking that because their famine got so bad, maybe they were going out, like sneaking out to the outside to like scavenge out there and stuff. But then, yeah, it was it was worse.
Yeah.
Way worse.
And that was like my whole thing too. I was like, well, maybe not, because they did act somewhat normal. It's like I was thinking like when they got the food, they would be like gorging themselves on the food, and they really held back. So I'm like, maybe it is along what you said. And then they opened. It was the guy from the Raiders and Lucy in the room together, and he takes his shirt off and everything. I'm like, nah, that's too many scars for. I'm like, nah, that's definitely. I was when I was like, yeah, 100% Raider.
Yeah. Well, I believe his name was Monty, right? I think it was Monty.
Yeah.
Monty Python.
I mean, hey, Lucy did not care at first.
No,
She was quick to that.
I was surprised no one from the vault even mentioned anything about their scars or anything, though, because, like, some of them weren't super hidden.
Oh, no, yeah. I don't know if, I think of all people, I mean, you got to remember they're taught the golden rule, so I don't think they really, I think they're just naive would be the word for it. And we do see this when Lucy leaves the vault. She is very naive.
Get back here now, young lady. Well, that didn't work.
The poor old guy.
Dude, her brother, he's the worst. I like, he's nice. I want to like him, but man, he just keeps messing stuff up.
I feel so bad because have y'all watched Ender's Game?
Yeah.
So the actor is the guy that plays Bonzo in Ender's Game, and every time I see him, like, that's Bonzo.
See, that's
Bonzo.
not how I remember him though, because he's been in a lot of shows growing up too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he was very much a child actor.
Oh.
I hadn't seen him in a while, so it is kind of nice to see a familiar face.
Yep. But no, it was a nice familiar face. I mean, while we're still inside the vault, I mean, the fight scene altogether was pretty gruesome.
Yeah. Was not expecting it to be that brutal.
A lot of different killing techniques. I mean, shoot, the pregnant lady getting stabbed in the eye with a fork.
Yeah. oof. Of all things.
Out of all things, exactly.
She gives me like Kill Bill vibes because of the eye patch now and like her eye and everything. I'm just like, you're gonna be.
And let's not like diminish the fact she was freaking hella pregnant.
Yeah, no, she was.
She is a badass.
Yeah.
I think out of everybody in the vault, in which Lucy is supposed to be depicted as somebody who knows how to fight. Like, she was trained how to fight.
Yeah, I was surprised that she didn't grab a gun sooner.
Yeah.
Or like, cool, you have this knife. That guy has a machete in him. Maybe grab the machete instead. Like, I'm gonna need to see you like.
We'll put it this way. Starting stats, intellect was maxed out.
And charisma maxed out.
Maxed out. Fighting, whatever was left over.
A little bit into agility.
A little bit of
Dexterity.
Yeah.
Intelligence and strength way down there.
But yeah.
So if we want to number the stats, what do we number the stats? I'm gonna give it like a 3 on strength,
Yeah.
probably like a 7 on agility. Let's do a 5 on endurance because she does take some damage. We'll do a.
Just get stabbed in the abdomen, just some damage.
Stim pack took care of the rest.
You just
Yeah.
got to get some luck in there because man's just lucky
Yeah.
to get out of that.
I was gonna say about an 8 on the luck scale. Oh man, yeah, and it's fun to think of it in game terms. I know there's a lot of Easter eggs for the games.
Yeah.
I know we mentioned the junk jet,
Yeah.
which was stupid cool to see. Like, there's a lot of people that don't know Fallout that are gonna be like, that's so dumb.
The junk jet, the railgun.
Yep.
The railgun made a return. Love that.
I didn't even catch it. I'll have to go back and watch it.
Oh yeah, it was great to see. As soon as I saw it, I jumped out my seat.
And like the attention to detail with the vault suits look great.
They made a real big scene of one of the raiders during the fight taking Jet. And anybody who hasn't played the games is not going to understand at all what any of that was. But I was just like, oh.
I think my only like with Jet, because Jet gives you. I never used drugs in Fallout.
Same.
I don't like dealing with the addiction and all that. But doesn't Jet give you like additional AP to slow for your VATs?
Yes.
So I would have loved to have seen like when he took the jet, things just slowed down a little bit from his perspective, and do a little slow mo for like half a second before he, whatever.
Until his death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't that much longer past. He just got, ooh.
It's just, that would have been a great shot, and this is me like telling director or the videographer, whoever's in charge of shooting, like you did a horrible job because if you would have slowed it down, and then all of a sudden you see a bat or something come off the side, and it's full speed while he slowed down. It would have been such a nice little like added to people that played the game would have caught what was happening, but also just a really good shot that's very interesting to me.
Yeah.
You brought up like VATs and everything. I didn't even think. I wonder if they're gonna bring in VATs. Like if we're gonna get a call to VATs at some point. We have to, right?
Yeah, I would. So I know I was talking about it with I think it was y'all. I would love to see the Mysterious Stranger make an appearance.
Yeah.
Like no reason, just because it's not a character. Actually, he has a lot of backstory. I've watched probably 4 or 5 hours on a backstory where people were talking about the Mysterious Stranger and like where he appears, how his like outfit and stuff is. So would love for him to make an appearance, and because he's been in New Vegas, so he's on the West Coast. He's been in Boston. He's been in DC. I haven't played the first 2 or 3 games. I know y'all said y'all played Fallout 1.
Yeah.
We don't talk about 1 and 2.
I have
We've
started.
talked a lot about one.
I have started playing it. I actually started playing it before they announced the show.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been really the only time I have to play is on stream, and people don't like watching that.
They really don't.
You'll get a few people that love that game and know it inside and out, and that's it.
I will say the first like vault you go to, I was looking for the hunting rifle because I knew the hunting rifle was there. I probably spent 30 minutes in that bathroom, like just moving and clicking, trying to find the hunting rifle.
When we played, I spent hours and hours trying to figure out how to get a rope to get down into the vault, and I never figured it out. And then found out that they did it in like 10 minutes. And they were like, "What do you mean you didn't get down there?" And I was like, "I didn't figure it out."
Yeah.
The first game was not hand-holdy.
No, it's very throw you into it and let you figure it out,
Yeah.
which is not good because you're on like a time. You have a time limit.
The
That's how-
time limit makes it hard.
That's how gaming used to be.
True.
Because we've gone back and played a few 80s and 90s games, and they're all just, all right, enjoy. Because you're supposed to have the manual.
Which we don't have in the manual nowadays.
Right.
At least it's not like Fallout 3 that just doesn't run really well.
Yeah.
On modern day systems.
Are there any like cameos you guys are super excited to see, or anything you want to see them bring into the show?
Yeah, Shady Sands I know makes an appearance, and I'm super excited for Shady Sands because the NCR, we know it gets bombed, but we know that if Shady Sands is in it, it means NCRs somehow should be in the show because that was their headquarters, the capital. That's an exciting one for me.
I don't remember. I played so much of this side quest and I don't remember it that much. But do you guys remember in Fallout 4, like the comic that existed, the like investigator
Oh yeah, the
Silver something?
Silver Shroud.
Yeah, I want Silver Shroud. I want to see some Silver Shroud.
So my only concern with that one is I think Silver Shroud was based out of Boston,
Yeah.
not West Coast. which is I like that we're getting more West Coast stuff because like nobody's played Fallout 1, 2 Tactics, and there's one more. Wasn't there? Is it just 1, 2, and Tactics?
Yeah, I think it's
I
just.
think it's just those.
I thought there was another one for
I
some.
mean, New Vegas
Oh,
is
no.
kind of West Coast.
It's called Van Buren. Van Buren was never released. That's the other one I'm thinking
Oh.
about. So it had a working name. It didn't even actually make it a release. So I've read a lot of
Yeah.
backstory lore into it.
What's the bartender robot that you could like pay extra and he tells a joke?
Oh,
And for
Drinking Buddy. No,
Yeah.
something Buddy. Did you guys not do that? You can get a companion in 4 he's just a robot, but you can put your Nuka-Cola and everything in him and he'll make it cold, so it does better effects.
Yeah.
But if you decide to keep him, you can pay him. He tells horrible jokes. But he was produced, so in theory, there should be more of those out in the world somewhere.
I want him in the show.
I spent too much time with McCready, so I'm a big Matt Mercer fan. So McCready was always my go-to companion, just to hang out with Matt.
Yeah, mine was dog meat.
Yeah.
I got a
Never.
dog meat in real life.
Man's best friend.
I refuse. I will never use dog meat. Last time I played, he got stuck on a door, and I was so upset. So I opened the door, and then he sat down outside. I was like, okay. So I go to I shut the door again, and he starts plowing, like trying to get into the door. I open it, and he sits down, and I was like, I hate this dog. So I just closed the door. He somehow opens the door, runs through the house, sets off a mine, which kills both of us. I was like, no, you need to go.
We're talking Fallout 4. So when you first start, this was probably like I don't know how many playthroughs. I just started playing through it again, and it might have been, I think it was 2 years ago. It was right when I moved to Vegas, and I went straight south, and there's a mausoleum and a graveyard straight to south. Well, I went in the mausoleum just exploring, and up pops a Mirelurk King. Guess what auto-saved right as I entered the mausoleum?
Oh.
Guess who didn't save the game because they just started?
Well, at least you just started.
Yeah, after
Yeah.
the stupid cutscenes. Like, okay, so the intros are very, very interesting the first time you play through it.
Yeah.
But after the first time, I wish they'd put an option where you could just skip the whole tutorial, because that's all it is a tutorial at the beginning.
Yeah.
Skip past that because it's like 30 minutes to an hour of just having to go through the vault.
I just like seeing the before the war, like anything I can on that, which this show is exciting me for that because it seems like they're going to show a lot more of it. And in Fallout 4, that's like the only time you can see that is that opening scene. So I do the thing where I'm like, I'm going to go everywhere in my house.
Yeah. And I do like Fallout 4. I do like the before the war scenes, which is really interesting. I hope we see more of the West Coast before the war.
Yeah.
Because right now, I think all that they've really said we're seeing is L.A., if I'm not mistaken. L.A. and Hollywood.
We have more seasons.
Yeah, maybe season 2 they'll start doing like New Vegas tie-ins and stuff.
Oh, no, so I know where season 1 ends. It got spoiled for me. I don't want to spoil it for you, but we will be getting more of
Cool.
other parts of the West Coast.
Oh, okay.
Specifically, I'm sorry, Vegas. We get more Vegas.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
They're right there. If they're going to expand and do more, we already have the lore and the look for Vegas down. It would make sense.
That's actually been one of the biggest gripes and complaints with lore is because of the way the series ends with New Vegas, and because of that, it kind of breaks some of what New Vegas has, which to me isn't too much of a gripe because if you know Fallout, the endings are not canon, and the endings are supposed to not be canon, so people can play it however they want. But that's also why we don't go back to certain places in games. If you say the pit, fuck off. It's the only place you go back to. Shut up. Pit in 76 is the only time you go back to a location that's been previously visited by Fallout.
I go back to Deathclaw Island. I just like to have fun there.
Or I know I'm wearing a 76 shirt. I've played 1 week of 76 and never played it again.
I probably played like a good 6 months. Did all the missions, and after that, probably never went back.
I started it yesterday, ironically enough, and I had a save from 2018, which was the week before it came out, the beta they did.
Yeah.
And then I tried it yesterday. It's fine. I'll keep playing for a little bit and see what happens. The missions aren't shared, which is weird. Like, so Fallout first subscription thing right now is like half off. So I was like, sure, I'll try it. and you can do a private world with up to 8 friends. Cool. But we're not doing the same missions. And depending on your dialogue choices, it changes the mission.
Oh wow.
So it lets each person in the world do it the way they want, which is cool. But it runs into the problem of if you guys are doing it at the same time,
Yeah.
you have to do it twice.
Yeah, if you're playing together, it's
Yeah. Okay.
That would be annoying. It's almost like Division. If you've played the Division, like you can go to all the mission spots without starting the mission,
Mhm.
so you can run into other people and help them with the mission without actually getting the reward for yourself. And you're like, what's the point of that? I like the Division though. I thought it was a good game.
I have way too many hours in Division 2.
Yeah.
I'm at like 600. I'm probably 1,500 in Div 1.
I don't think I spent that much time, but it's been a lot. I would just camp in the dark zone and kill people.
Oh, I don't do Dark Zone.
Wait till they go to put the bags and start sniping. That was an asshole. Yeah, no, I played the very first week that Fallout 76 released, and it was very much go find this person. Oh, they're dead. Go find this person. Oh, they're dead. Go find this person. Oh, they just died. Go find this. And it was just the same thing over and over again. And I was not interested after that, and I've never touched it again.
The perk system is cool. When you level up, you get a pack of cards. So it's like mini loot boxes, which I am for. I'm in. But you kind of select like strength. You have like this set of strength cards, and you can choose what to put in. It's a cool idea. I'll be excited if I open a legendary at some point. Like it's a cool way to get it.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
I wonder if with the show coming out and the show doing well, if they're going to push more in 76 again, because it just came out and they're doing like the free weekend and the discount on the subscription right now. I wonder if we're going to see a lot of ties and a lot of new stuff from the show into 76.
We'll probably get Creation Club stuff.
Mm.
I know they're heavily focused on Starfield right now, and they've announced, I think, Elder Scrolls is after Starfield. So Elder Scrolls should be in pre-production. Possibly, we know we're not going to probably get that to like the 2030s, but...
Well, they announced it in 2018.
I think they announced that it's in a playable state or something right now, because all of the memes are, oh wow, so it should have been released like a year ago.
No, yeah. And usually that was like one thing I gave Bethesda is like they don't typically announce stuff until it's almost ready to be released, which I love about Bethesda.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be honest, we got Skyrim in 2011. We got it 11.
Yep.
It's been 13 years going on since an Elder Scrolls, which I'm okay for. I think Starfield was almost a flop. I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's good either. I think it has the No Man's Sky kind of problem. There's just so many planets, and you try to use AI to generate things on those planets, which just leads to lackluster engagement. Because like me as somebody playing it, why am I engaged in a planet where AI is written out the same encounter, just laid out differently than I've had 3 previous planets that I've landed on?
Well, most planets are supposed to be barren and empty because it was supposed to feel like actual space where if we are civilizing planets and everything, like not everything's going to be habitable, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, instead of 1,000, let's give us like 200. Like we don't need 1,000.
Yeah, no.
And back to taking forever to make stuff, we're still waiting on DLC. I paid 100 and however much for the Ultimate Edition. I'm still waiting for my DLC, please. It's been almost 2 years.
Has it been that long?
It was what, December of 22? I think
I don't think it's been. I think it was December 23.
last year.
Yeah.
No,
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
because you had your helmet.
it didn't come out last year.
That didn't come out the year before. We were at a different house.
Oh,
Yeah, I was supposed to say. I'm pretty sure I was in my house,
okay.
which I just moved in July of last year.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure it was this past.
Yeah, it was this past year.
Oh wait, we can figure this out. Oh,
We can Google it.
as we're talking about things Bethesda does good and bad. September 6th of 2023.
Okay.
Thank you, Google.
Okay.
It's just felt like forever
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah, which I mean that is long for that. Which
Yeah.
if they've got season 2 approved for Fallout the series, because we've gone off the show a little bit. Sorry guys, we get talking Bethesda things. We could just turn this to a Bethesda talk and not a show. How long do you think until we get the next season for Fallout?
How long was
I give it
between?
like a year.
A year?
How long did Last of Us take to do their second half? Because I'd say quality-wise is about the same, but Fallout has way more like CGI and stuff they have to get done. So
I don't think so.
you didn't feel like the Vault had like so much CGI?
No, it did, but I know how much goes into Last of Us too.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So yeah, no. Yeah, I think it was 2 or 3 years for The Last of Us, if I'm not mistaken. And there's another second half of part 2 that needs to come out too.
Yeah.
When do we think Elder Scrolls 6 is coming? Because they're not going to want to do the next season right next to the launch of a different franchise game.
I don't think we're gonna get Elder Scrolls till 2028.
Yeah.
Okay.
2027, 28 at best. 27 at best, 28 possibly, and at worst 2030. Bethesda's not known for being fast making games.
Yeah.
I hope it's like not much more than a year, but
Hear me out though. I think with the success of this show, we may finally, and now that Bethesda is owned by Microsoft, and now that Obsidian Studios is owned by Microsoft, I think the success of the show and people wanting more West Coast Fallout stuff, we may get another Obsidian Fallout, especially with season 2 going into Vegas. I
Fallout.
think it would make sense to do a Vegas 2.
New Vegas too. Yeah.
it'd be really cool. But what's their working relationship like? Do you know? Because they haven't worked together for a while,
no.
and then they had the whole Outer Worlds thing.
Yeah, I know it's still good. So
Okay.
the Obsidian CEO has already said they want to make another one.
Oh, okay, cool. That's
And
good
like
to hear.
the whole gripe that people hear about, so Obsidian had the opportunity to make a bonus if they hit a certain Metacritic score. They missed the Metacritic score by half a point,
Oh,
and so they were like, "You should just round it up and give us the bonus because we did a really good job." And they also made the game in 2 years. So they made New Vegas, which is a lot of people's favorite Fallout, and that love Fallout, in 2 years, whereas Bethesda takes how many years to make it? And so that's why a lot of things in New Vegas feel rushed. It's because they make the entire fucking game in 2 years. And so my gripe would be I hope they give Bethesda or Obsidian more time. And Obsidian has always had the issue of not time management very well. They have horrible time management skills. I mean, you can look at Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. The second one had horrible time management. Great game, loved the game. Horrible time management. I think even Outer Worlds had the same issues. It felt rushed because of the time management that they have. Fallout New Vegas has time management. I think they underutilize the time they have, but if given more time and better management, it would probably be a lot better game.
well, Microsoft's made a big push when they bought Bethesda and everything of no, take the time you need, make us a good, really
Yeah.
solid game. So,
Very true.
which I think we saw more with Starfield. I think it was a lot more solid on launch than a lot of their previous games.
I actually think Starfield is running into the same issue that Cyberpunk ran into. I think it had too long of a development period. Because if you look at Cyberpunk, it went from, I think they started working on it, they said in 2013 or 2014, which was PS3 was out when they started working on it. And then the PS4 was out and they were developing it for the PS4. And then the PS5 came out and then they switched to the PS5 and started trying to upgrade. And it just took too long for them to make. Yeah, so maybe. I mean, we keep getting off track.
Yeah.
We're sorry. I don't think we've all been in the room talking about Fallout,
No.
and we keep getting sidetracked for things. To bring it back to the show, though, so we've gone through the marriage. She's technically married now. They don't
Yeah.
hit on it, but did marriage happen?
Yeah, I mean, it happened. I mean, she's a widow now, though,
Yeah, she
right?
is a widow.
Does she get the Black Widow perk?
That'd be cool to see. Extra damage against male characters. Be kind of cool to see. So, out of the vault, what was your favorite thing you saw in the vault?
How is that Ferris wheel still up?
That's not even in the vault.
We said out of the vault.
No, in the vault.
No, in the
Oh, okay.
Out of the things in the vault.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha.
What was your favorite?
I don't know.
Probably when they're cleaning up the aftermath, just replacing the posters. I'm like, the fact that they cared so much about their posters tells you.
Yeah.
They just painted over the blood, though. You gotta wash that stuff
It'll
off.
be fine.
It'll be alright.
No, I really liked we were talking about the fight scene. I really liked when the film started burning and it looked like bombs going off in the background. Like
That was cool.
that was really cool to me, like a really nice choice.
Yeah, I like that too. Panda?
I don't know. Just the whole fight scene was good. Like it wasn't like a thing, I guess. I just wasn't expecting it to be that brutal and gory and everything.
That Fallouty?
Yeah,
it's very
like,
much Fallout.
yeah. I just wasn't expecting that much. I guess it was cool to see. Like it really sets the tone of like, oh, okay, you're doing Fallout. Got it.
Yeah, it's definitely rated R.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my favorite thing was the projector. I love the projector screen out in the cornfield and how it projects the sky and everything. Pretty HD for the time period.
Yeah.
So I think we're still in our world, it'd be equivalent to like the 1940s or 50s is the time period they're at. Maybe late 60s. Because for those that don't know, Fallout takes place in our world, but it differs. I think the cutoff point is like the 1930s or 40s, and that's where our timeline goes this way and Fallout goes this way. And so we're really still in the 50s, 60s. And instead of Russia, it's China for the Cold War and the tensions. But like, and then it's obviously, cyberpunky technology in the 1950s, which is weird to see that they have like all these high-tech stuff, and then you have black and white TV.
They had color projectors apparently,
Yeah.
so we probably could have got some color TV, but it was just not in everyone's house, you know?
Yeah, I mean, one little detail that we can always come back to is the wedding dress. For every woman that has worn it, had their name and the year of the marriage. So it does relay because what the vault scene was 200 plus years after the nuke. So it tells you how long they've been doing that for.
I thought that was really nice, just them all writing it in there and having like showing that to the point where then when she got stabbed, I was like, no, the dress.
I didn't even think about that either. And I guess it's a callback too that the vaults don't have a lot of resources, so it makes sense that they would share something like that. But also, you're the only female in here. Would you want to get married in a dress that's like that somebody else has worn throughout?
I didn't get married in a wedding dress, so like I've never got the whole big like wedding dress, but I thought it was nice. Like it kind of connected them as a community because she was like talking to her friend, and it's like, oh yeah, this is the same dress I got married in. Like it kind of created this nice little like community bond of it. But then it got weird because they talked about the wedding night in the dress, and now I'm like, I don't want to wear it now. Now it's a little weird.
Yeah, I didn't think about that part either.
Yeah. Just a candid conversation. I'm like, cool, I'm putting on this dress. Maybe we don't talk about that.
Yeah, I didn't buy my suit. I rented a suit.
I mean, at least she said she took off the dress.
Yeah,
Unlike Lucy.
the respect to
I'm
take
sure
off the
it
dress.
was clean.
Yeah.
Dry clean.
It's gonna take a lot of dry cleaning for the blood now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she's outside now. She can bring back a new one. The small details, guys. Important questions. Fallout lore. Life goes on.
She's got to replace the dress.
First
Who
she has
cares
to
about
replace
her
the
dad?
husband.
Oh, well, that's the easy part.
Fight said, put me in the show.
I'll take one for the team. Gladly take one for the team. I saw a picture and I hated this picture too, where somebody took the shot of her from behind and like photoshopped her butt. And I'm like, that's so unnecessary. Like, she's a beautiful woman. Like, leave her alone.
I thought it was really obvious she didn't sign off on it, whereas he did. He did not care at all. He was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that, I mean, it could have just been a style choice. They wanted to keep her in the dress, or it could have been they were just respecting, hey, she didn't want to do it. Cool, we'll keep you clothed. That's cool.
Yeah.
I liked the directors were fine with that.
Yeah, I have my two biggest gripes about adults, like any movies, deaths. I think deaths have to be important. Unimportant deaths diminish the narrative. And adult scenes. I hate adult scenes. I think they're so stupid. There's no real point ever having necessarily an adult scene. Unless there's times, but they're very, like, I hate them for the most part.
They're overused a lot.
Yeah.
But I've seen it a lot in the recent years where it's just more and more because they can now. And yeah, a lot of the times they're kind of unnecessary ones.
Yeah. Like that one, I don't hate as much because, I mean, it's the wedding night, consummate the marriage, whatever have you. But I don't like how they portrayed it because she was very much, this is just what you do. It doesn't mean anything, and that's why I hated it. Because like usually it's something two people do because they care about each other, not just because.
Hey,
Yeah.
we need to repopulate.
Well, she was very much clear as to why she wanted this marriage. Was no, I want to have a kid. Like this is my job. Like we got to do this.
Yeah.
She was very straightforward from the beginning of why she wanted this. It wasn't.
Did she want a job though, or did she just want a sense of belonging and purpose?
I think she
Ooh,
really
yeah.
believes that she needed to repopulate the earth. Like that she seems to take pride in that because she has a job. She's doing good. She's learned all these other skills. But when she's listing everything off, she's like, no, like I just need a husband so that like I can help with what our community's doing. Like we're supposed to repopulate. And maybe they've been a little brainwashy into that, but
And we're gonna gloss over the fact she's been sleeping with her cousin.
For 10
you
years.
could-
It's not sustainable.
It's not, yeah. They were very vague on how much they were like, yeah, cousin stuff's fine when you're a kid. It's like, what? No, wait,
No.
rewind that for a second. No.
Yeah, no, that's super weird. I don't want young kids watching this and think that's okay because they put it in the show.
No,
Which, first of all,
frowned
parents,
upon.
Don't let your kids watch this, okay?
this is definitely not a kids show. Yeah, I mean, listen, I was watching things way before my age, but I think I'm not gonna tell people how to parent their kids. Just be there with your kids so you can talk about what's happening. Because kids are smart. Kids are smarter than what we give them for. They know what's going on. Yeah.
They know how to get on the streaming sites. They'll watch it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Some of these kids are smarter than we are.
Yeah. Not gonna doubt that at all.
We have a kid in here that is building full Roblox maps and like games inside of Roblox, and I think he's like 8-10 years old, and I'm like, I don't understand.
It's full coding sometimes, man.
Yeah.
They get into it so early that way. It's awesome.
Yeah, he's going places.
That's cool.
Fallout, weird conversations. Yeah.
All right. So what's next? Life outside the vault.
Or I think we cut to Maximus and the Brotherhood of Steel next. They did some of these weird cuts where it was like part of Lucy, then we cut to Maximus, and then we cut to the ghoul, and I forget his name.
They just call him the
The Ghoul.
Ghoul
The
on
Ghoul.
his title card, but
Well, no, he has
he has a
also-
name from before,
before the war, yeah.
but I don't remember it.
And evidently he's divorced too. I think they
Yeah. Yeah,
they
'cause-
mentioned that.
He was like alimony.
Yeah.
And the daughter's like, wait, what?
Which is weird because alimony is usually whoever gets the kid, and he had the kid. I don't know. Weird times.
Well, I liked the way they shot it for that. The like name introductions and then cutting to them, and a lot from the fights and stuff too. I was getting really like Kill Bill vibes.
Yeah.
Which
I can
I like. That or what was the name of that movie? Bullet Train.
Bullet Train was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did watch that one.
Yeah, it gives me those kind of vibes.
Everybody seen Bullet Train?
Yes.
Okay.
It
Love
was
it.
so good.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting to enjoy that one as much as I did.
I was just at work and I was like, hey, you want to go to the movies? And we had seen nothing on it. We just went and we're like, oh, what is this?
It was so good though.
Fully admit, I only went to see it for Bad Bunny.
It's okay.
But you liked the movie. So.
No, the movie was good. I enjoyed the whole movie.
Wait, there was a movie announced. Oh, Joker 2's coming out soon.
Yeah,
That's the movie that's coming out soon that I want to go see. Like, there's another movie that I want to go see.
it has
um,
Gaga.
Yeah, I think that was I did a whole review on the channel for that. If y'all want to go watch it, I loved it. I think the trailer was phenomenal. I think the movie's gonna be even better. First one was really good. Second one's gonna be even better.
I haven't seen the first one yet.
Oh, you need to. It's great. So life outside the vault though.
So Maximus.
Maximus. We're gonna start with Maximus first. Brotherhood of Steel. I like that they're doing more of the Fallout 4 power armor. The Fallout 4 and 76. I love that power armor. I think it's a lot better than New Vegas, Fallout 3, and the previous Fallouts where you can just put it on and just feels more like leather armor. It's
Yeah.
something you wear that encases you and not like a mobile tank.
It looked really good.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I never use power armor in the games.
Never?
Oh my goodness.
Oh wow.
I love the power armor. Always made sure I had extra cells on me just so I can travel around.
Now I will say in Fallout 4, I actually don't use power armor as much. I collect them, and in Sanctuary, I have a whole collection of a lot of them.
Just a wall of power armor.
No, it's a whole like separate building that takes up a good section of the town, because I collect like all the ones I can find, and I collect the special ones like the Nuka-Cola armor. What's the blue one that's also in Nuka-Cola World? I forget. The quantum cola. Yeah, so I've got that one. Really, any of the special ones, I go out there and intentionally find, and I do not wear them. They just get put up for me to go look at.
I did the same thing. I built like a little museum on top of the truck stop.
Yes. And I don't know. I like the way they do armor in Fallout 4. How you can have the different sections, and you go into the customization with like the lead lining, the polymer lining, and things like that, which is really cool.
The lamp color.
Yeah. Always purple.
I stay green.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my hair's no longer purple, so I can't say it matches my hair anymore.
It seems like they're going on this, though, a little more the way of you need to actually train to be able to use the power armor. Because in 4, you could just toss it on. It was fine. But it was 3, right? Where you had to actually be taught how and get the perk and everything.
3 in New Vegas, yeah.
Yeah. So I think they're going a little more that way, where it's like not anyone can just go step into power armor.
Yeah. Which makes sense, because, I mean, I think there is, even in the lore, they talk about the power armor breaking people in half. Yeah, like they break bones, they break them in half because it's powered armor, so it moves more than you necessarily intend to, and you break your arms because you move too much. And that's why you have to have training.
I didn't know that. I didn't know why you needed training. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but it's essentially an exoskeleton that has armor plated around it. So yeah. So that would Do you need training? I don't even know if they mentioned that you need training. I think he just sees them.
Yeah, I think he just sees them. It just felt like the maybe not everyone can use it kind of thing.
Almost.
I think it was just the base that they were in. It made it feel like
That's
more
what-
training wise.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
Well, they were just visiting at the same time when the power armor showed up for the Brotherhood. They were all training, but it's not a regular occurrence for them. That's why they were all surprised, because it was a recruitment. In
That's
which,
true.
even if we see with Maximus, he's not necessarily going in the body armor. He's the one directing the pilot.
Yeah.
He's the one that carries out, that has all the mission intel, and then just tells them, hey, here's what we're attacking, or here's what we're defending, that type of deal. So
It is really cool, too, seeing more of, like, the medieval aspect to the Brotherhood still, and, like, why they're called knights and squires and scribes. And, like, your squire is carrying your shit. You're there to carry the shit. You're there to do all the dirty work. And, like, your knight is really just the tank for battle that's going in to fight. And so that was cool to see. So the really important question, because I have my own theories here. Who do you think stuck the razor blade in the boot?
I don't want to say Maximus did it. I flip-flopped back and forth between if he did it or not. And then I was like, okay, no, he didn't. And then when they're talking in the infirmary, there's like a knowing glance that happens. And I'm like, okay, well, what the hell did that mean? Way out there guess. I think there's a small chance they did it themselves. Because they know they'll get a second chance, but they see how crappy Maximus's life is. So they're like, okay, well, I'll heal back up from this and I'll get it the next time. But this will help my buddy out. Way out there guess. Probably not great.
That was gonna be my guess. They did it themselves.
because that spot was guaranteed for them, and even in an infirmary, they confirm that spot's guaranteed the moment that fully healed. So, yeah, I think a little bit was self harm, which also builds up a lot of courage to even do that to yourself. Yeah. But I also think it also could have been the group of boys that were beating up Maximus in the beginning scene, because they were the ones that wanted to go out drinking. But who knows? That could have been a scheme.
I don't know my opinion. I think it was Maximus and them. I think it was both of them together. I think they did it but I think they let Maximus know that they were going to do it and to prepare the stories, because their stories were, from my understanding, the way they portray it, very similar with what was happening. So I'm like, you don't get a story like that from an event like this without having some inkling of insider knowledge that something was going to happen. And then, like, why do you think the Brotherhood had made him a squire instead of one of the other people? That's another important question.
Well, they pulled the the person that got hurt in. They pulled them in first to question. So maybe they were in cahoots too. Maybe it was a plan as well.
I don't know. I thought Maximus was doing pretty bad. He got the question wrong. He was getting beat up. But we talked a bit earlier about how, well, they're not really full fighting, so maybe him getting beat up wasn't that big a deal. But he got the question wrong about what the item was. So I was like, oh man, this guy shouldn't have been next up.
Yeah, he got punched in the nose for it too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he took it though. He didn't run away. He didn't care.
And I think that's a good point there. I think the Brotherhood values more of your ability to be a stalwart, like, figure, and somebody that is going to be put in armor. You're going to get punished. You're going to have to know how to take a beating and be able to continue going with the objective of protecting the Brotherhood. And I think that's the reason they put him particularly in the armor. It's also a loyalty thing. I think they didn't question his loyalty as much because of the event, and I think that's where the event plays in. Like, so you didn't do this to your friend, and your friend confirmed you didn't do this, so you stayed loyal to your friend, which is what they're looking for in values to the Brotherhood. Somebody can take a punch and still remain loyal.
He was really honest with them too, because he said, I didn't do it, but I wanted it to happen. Is that wrong? And for him to say yes, he real honesty there. Like, that's a hard thing to say, especially if you're being questioned on if you did it.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, buddy, do you need to go? Yeah. All right, so we're going to have a fallout of one of our cast members here. It's going to have to go.
leaving the vault.
He's going to be exiting the vault. Let's do it. It's recording. All right, so we have officially voted off Vasquez. He has been thrown out of the vault and into the wasteland. But he'll be back next episode. He unfortunately had to go to work and be an adult, unlike the rest of us.
He has to go find that water chip.
He's now the ghoul.
He's got to go find the Gek. Or is he searching for the head in the water? See, I'm surprised you haven't mentioned the axolotl that they've showed.
Oh, because I don't know what creature that is from the game.
It's not. It's one from the show.
I saw it and I was like, what is that I'm not getting? Because it's so cool looking.
I'm like, I saw that and immediately thought squid.
Yeah,
I'm like,
no, that thing's giant. It looks adorable.
So forewarning again, I've watched more episodes. The thing is fucking horrifying up close. Wait till you get to it's fucking horrifying.
Oh, it's gonna be so cute.
What?
Dude, the scary monsters are always the cutest. They just
No.
gonna
It's almost like Human Centipede horrifying.
Oh gosh.
Like it's a
I did watch
terrifying
that.
creature.
I didn't find that cute. So
I didn't watch that show, luckily. Somebody in high school mentioned it, and I'm like, yeah, no thanks. I don't want to watch that.
I know enough about it. I'm good.
I
Yeah.
watched the South Park episode. That's my introduction to it.
I think all of the things that people talk about on it and everything are all of the worst parts. Like, I found the movie really slow and boring. All of the worst parts are what you already know.
Okay. I'm still not going to watch it.
No,
Yeah, I'm good.
it's not.
All right, so we left off talking about Maximus and really who left the razor blade in the boot. I think did anybody else want to put anything to that? Because we've kind of mentioned, we took a short intermission there.
It was gory and I didn't like it.
I didn't realize what happened at first. I was just like, oh God, what happened to their foot? Like, how
I
did
didn't
this
either.
happen? And then when it zoomed in, I was like, oh, new fear. Cool.
You know-
I'm going to be terrified of that.
You know what I thought it was? And it's because I live in Vegas and I haven't run into one of these yet.
Rad scorpion?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a baby rad scorpion.
Yeah.
Because when they pulled their foot off and there was nothing there. The meat, like it was just
Yeah.
meat and bone. I'm like, oh, it's got to be a scorpion in there. And it's got to be a baby rad scorpion that did something like stung their leg, and this is just their leg dissolving and pulling it off. And like, almost wish that's what it was.
Yeah.
but like I liked the undertones of what it was because there was obvious intent and it let us talk about this whole like who did it kind of thing, which was really interesting.
Yeah, it was neat.
But yeah, we haven't got rad scorpions. We haven't really gotten many of the Fallout creatures yet.
No.
They teased some. So at the end of the episode, they have that coming up on this season thing. They teased some there, and I liked them.
Very true. I know they've teased. Obviously, we know ghouls are in it. The axolotl creature, which I like. I've even watched the episode. I don't even know what the name of it is. It's just an axolotl creature. It's horrifying. I've seen the rad roaches, which are cool to see. That's really it.
In the preview thing, they show, and I'm gonna say this wrong because I always say this wrong, but the bears, the yagwai.
Yagwai. Yeah.
Okay.
I do remember the yagwai. Yep.
Yeah.
I do remember that one.
It's kind of just a bear. We got to see some Brahmin. We got to see like things that aren't actually.
Actually, no, we do see a Brahmin.
Oh, do
I
we?
remember, yeah, it doesn't look like what you would think it looks like.
Oh.
It looks like a normal cow with two heads.
I
it's
mean,
kinda
that's the
underwhelming.
main part, I guess.
Yeah, but I was expecting like some skin falling off or something.
Yeah,
radiation poisoning.
big boils and
Yeah.
bloating is what I always think of them as.
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking like New Vegas, like where they're just big and like this hairless and meaty.
We saw when Maximus was taking care of the latrines, we saw giant flies, but they weren't as big as like actually being like a bot fly kind of thing.
The
It was
botfly?
just kind of flies.
What? How do y'all say it? Botfly?
I think I do because that's the actual creature, but I don't know how it's actually supposed to be said.
I think it's bloatfly.
That makes more sense. I think botfly is the actual one, like in the real world, that
Yeah, that it's based off of.
it does all the creepy stuff.
Yeah. It's something else. I would love for them to somehow tie in, just because we were talking about Last of Us. So the fungi that controls
Yeah, cordyceps.
the cordyceps, I would just a little like nod to another series. Like it doesn't have to be anything really intense. Just a nod would be cool.
I would
It's
just
not
say
gonna happen.
something like, "Oh well, it could be worse. It could be."
Yeah, it's like there could be zombies.
Yeah.
If there is zombies.
What kind
Yeah.
of?
It's all
I don't think the
are.
ghouls would like to be called that.
No, they definitely don't like being called that. But if they're okay calling smooth skins, but they don't like
Yeah. It
Such a
seems.
racist.
Yeah.
Ghouls are racist. Canon confirmed. No, I like the ghouls. Actually, the ghoulification process, because we've got a lot of it in like Fallout 3 lore. If you go to Necropolis, if y'all made it to Necropolis in Fallout 3,
I don't
I
think
got
I
to the
did.
outskirts and was like, I'm gonna die, and then ran away.
so it's really funny because like the first few times I didn't know it was there, because I was very much as a younger kid. This is the story. This is where I'm going, and like my attention span wasn't very big. So if there's not action, I was very bored. So I never went to Necropolis, and I replayed through Fallout 3 a year ago, and finally found Necropolis. Just stumbled upon it because I was exploring. I didn't even know where it was. I knew it was in the game, and randomly ran into it. And there's so much lore on ghouls there. There is actually a doctor there that is researching the ghoulification process, and it's really cool.
That's neat. I've always been curious on it because it's like, okay, I understand like the skin and everything, but like, how does it prolong their life so long? Like, some of these ghouls are ancient, and it's like I don't get how or.
They do mention part of it in the show, so we
Okay.
get a little bit of ghoul backstory, which is one of the big gripes about the series going forward. And I don't want to get too far into it because we'll talk about it in the episode that it happens.
Yeah.
But it kind of canonizes because they've said the show is canon. Like Todd Howard's already come out. The show is canon. It's its own separate story, and it does not impact the games, but it is canon. So everything that happens is canon. So there's some people that are upset about the ghoul process because they go into a little more detail about it. But I also, this is me playing devil's advocate. There is a way to prolong it as a ghoul, and they almost make it seem like there's a way where if you don't do this, you immediately become a feral ghoul. But I don't think it's that simple. I think it's more open-ended than what people are taking at face. I think people are taking it at face value, and they're not.
Oh.
And that's the problem.
I'm excited to see it because I love Fallout lore. I think it's really cool. But I have a hard time remembering all of it and everything because of how it's presented in the games.
It's so much.
And I think a show will really make that easier to follow and everything. Like it'll stick in my mind a little better.
Yeah. The ghouls look really good too. when they showed it off, that's when I got interested in the show.
Mm-hmm.
A few months ago, they were like, "Hey, look, the ghoul," and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. You're taking this serious."
Oh, and wait till you get to the other ones because he looks almost the most human out of all the ghouls I've seen to this up to the point that I've watched, which I think is only like episode 6 or so is where I've made it. I don't know how many episodes there are. I haven't looked into it. I'm one of those people where I don't want to know because I don't like anticipating like I'm getting closer to the end. I like just, oh, that's the end. Okay.
There's 76.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So that'd be so cool. But no, there's a lot more interesting goals, and they all have. I think one thing they do really well, even the feral goals, they have characters, like not necessarily backstories and like, but you can tell they're individual people, which makes it more entertaining to watch.
That's cool.
I want to see a glowing one.
Yeah, that would be cool. Which Shady Sands was nuked, and we do see it in the show, so it's a possibility.
That'd be cool.
Seeing the effects that it has. Imagine running into a Reaver. So do y'all know that Reavers, or is it Reaver or Roamer, in Fallout 3 were the strongest creatures? They had more health than the super mutant giants.
What?
Yeah, they're the strongest enemy you can fight in Fallout 3 is a ghoul.
That's
Because it has more health. It has like 1,000 health or something like that in game, and it does 100 damage per swing. It's stupid. And like the super mutant giants don't, which there are only 5 in the game, don't do that much damage. Yeah, fun fact. That's why everybody hates ghouls in Fallout 3.
just because they're ridiculous.
So we've talked about Maximus. We went on Maximus, and the power armor itself. I think we've hit on a good bit, and they've also kind of canon. Like I like that Maximus mentions like, did you line it with polymer or whatever? It's like that was a good callback to Fallout 4. That was neat. This is like a little quip, and I think in our intermission, while they them was very casually mentioned, and I didn't even catch onto it, and I appreciate it because it's being inclusive. But at the same time, they're not trying to be like overbearing about it and draw it to it, which I think a lot of shows miss out on it, and they take away from the entertainment of the show when you're trying to make it very like, this person is they them.
Yeah.
Like, no, they're just a person. Let them live their lives.
I love seeing more inclusion. We're getting a lot more inclusion in things now. But I do feel a lot of shows and a lot of directors and everything do it in such an over-the-top way that it almost feels pandering. And this really wasn't. I didn't catch it until partway through, and I was just like, oh, well, that's really cool. Like, I'm happy they did that. But they made Dane a full character before, and they never drew attention to it. But it was just a really nice way for them to actually be inclusive without... Look.
Yeah, it's a nice way of showing that these people are just people. They're people that want to be respected. That's it. It's just like that's how I treat people, and I think I've learned this from Morgan Freeman. It's like I'm Morgan Freeman. That's who I am. I'm not like whatever you want to describe me as. I'm Morgan Freeman, and I think he said it the best. And that's how I live my life. I'm like I'm gonna treat people like the people that they are, and by the actions they do, not by what they look like, what they believe in, or any of those superficial terms. Like, how are you as a person? What are your actions? That's what you get judged on. Like, if you go out here and kill somebody, you're a bad person. If you go out here and do a lot of charity work, okay, you might be a good person, but you might be doing charity work to make up for something.
Tax breaks.
Tax breaks are nice.
But yeah, I don't know. I liked the way it was handled. I thought it was nice.
I thought it was too. And like, as much as I give Lucy shit about just wanting to have sex with everybody, like you mentioned, there is a purpose to it that she grew up believing.
Yeah. She thinks this is her way.
Yeah.
I like it was clearly so ingrained in her that when she got stabbed, I got really worried for her and where she was stabbed.
True.
And I was like, oh God, I hope that doesn't this is what she wanted. That's gonna be heartbreaking for her if it has messed with her ability to repopulate. It seemed high. I think she's fine, but
Also, you have 2 ovaries.
yeah, it was. But yeah, I was like, oh no, for her.
It's very true. And I think that was when the one lady that we were talking about was in battle that got the fork to the eye. Like when she started fighting, I started getting nervous for the baby. I'm like, lady, like defend yourself, but don't be out there in the middle of the cornfield just fighting these raiders.
She was ready to go.
Yeah.
Well, her husband passed, right? Like
Yeah.
her husband got
Yeah.
killed in it.
Oh, it gets
so-
super weird with that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see her going crazy bad.
Which, I mean, they even picture like she didn't really care about her husband that much, or they had some problems going on or something.
She's
Look,
got
the
cousins there. It'll be fine.
Marriage is for a purpose in this vault, okay? They don't.
Very true. Well, that's what makes it weird is they paint her to not really care about her husband too much. And then I think she takes it bad. And I think this just builds into people's characters. It makes it more believable, which is kind of nice. I like that emotions are not black and white. And they're doing a very good job of portraying emotions, which I guess is why I don't like Lucy being so black and white. I think that's what it is about the sex thing. It's just very black and white for her. There's no like ambiguity there for her. It's just like yes, no, and not moral gray area.
It also gives a lot of room for her to grow, though, too. Since
True.
she's the main one going out in the wasteland right now, like she's gonna have the biggest growth if she's black and white at the start.
That's true. I didn't think about it that way.
I also just saw it as a lot of a mask. She's very much my dad is the overseer, and look, I'm the perfect daughter, and look at all these great traits I have, and oh, I'm not as good at this. And then they show her, because she said she wasn't as good at marksmanship, and they show her doing like great. She puts on that front that I think a lot of people feel like they have to put on of, no, I'm perfect. Look, I'm all good at all of these things. And I kind of want to see her struggle with that as she is out in the wasteland of maybe you don't have to put on this mask that you did for your vault of being absolutely perfect.
You know, and it's funny you mention that. And maybe this is from me coming from a small town of like 3,000 people where everybody knew who I was and all that. And it's very much like they're in your business. So you do put on this mask so that way people, it's almost like a shield. Like you put on the mask so people don't like bother you or talk to you about certain things. Because there's times where life events happen and you're like, just please leave me alone. Like I want to deal with it, but every time somebody different brings it up and it brings it back, like now I have to deal with it all over again. Like I'm dealing with it in my own way and almost wish people would go away with the problem. And I feel like that's maybe where you're getting at. Whereas here in Vegas, there's 3 million people almost. You're like, I just can go about my day and do what I want to do.
Yeah, there's that. They're in a very tight-knit community. And also there's the side of, well, she needs to portray herself perfectly. And some people, be it male or female, but you see it a lot in female and like the work environment and everything. No, if I slip up even a little bit, it's going to undermine me and I can't. And I'm going to be perfect at this because I have to prove I am. And her coming from being the overseer's daughter, I'm sure the pressure is insane
Oh yeah, no,
on its own.
I definitely
So-
dealt with that too. When people like my last name, people knew who my family was, and so when like it was very much ingrained to me, I have to make my family proud very young, whether it was intentional or not from my family. I was very cognizant, even as a young child, like will my actions affect my family in a negative light? And I think she deals with that too, especially with a vault and your dad's the overseer.
Yeah. And then she already sees her brother being
Her
not
brother.
more of a
Yeah.
gamer and like not caring as much about the things that the vault's clearly putting forward as the important ones. But you also see her kind of cover for that some and cover for her family as well, because when she's talking about the book club and she's like, we're still trying to get my brother on board.
Yeah.
She's not gonna badmouth her brother, because one, that's her family. That's not very nice to do.
Yeah.
But two, that's not a good picture to put out there. So
Which you say, I think, and this is me watching more of the show, I think her brother has a bigger growth than she does.
I could see a lot from him. I was surprised he went into the other vault, and kind of figured it out before everything went down. Not
Yeah.
in time, but
There's more story there too. He doesn't figure everything out.
no. Oh,
No,
exciting.
there's a lot more to that, which is interesting because they are setting him up to be kind of, I don't want to say the protagonist because Lucy is definitely the protagonist, but he's definitely like the protagonist of the vault itself.
He's going to be the overseer potentially.
I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know that part. I haven't gotten that far.
He's got a really good head on him too, though, because he shows it before Lucy leaves. Like, yeah, he messes up. He doesn't hold the elevator and everything. But when they're at that town meeting, and she's like, "No, we gotta go get Dad," and he's like, "They don't want to go find him because then they wouldn't be able to be in charge."
Yep.
He sees a lot more and understands a lot more than he's really putting out there. So parts of me wonder, like, okay, well, now that I'm thinking of it more, how much of that was like an act? Because like, hold the elevator, he didn't. People got to see her leave. Was that him just being, this kind of screw-uppy character that he's been? Or was that more calculated, maybe? Because he clearly does see the back end of things a little bit.
Yeah.
And she mentioned when she's leaving, she's like, I don't have to trank you too, right? And he's like, no, I'm too scared. Like, he knows his flaws and everything too.
Yeah.
Which, that's a lot.
He's interesting.
Yeah, I like his character. I'm more interested in seeing more of his character. I don't know if we'll get more of his character or not, but I am invested in that character, and I think they do a good job of getting me invested in that character. Whereas, like, I'm invested in the ghoul. I think they do a good job with his character because he's not black and white. He's very much, you don't know how to take him yet, and even like further out in the show, you don't know how to take him, and it's gonna be interesting watching that growth. With Maximus. And we can talk about this in this episode because Maximus, we see in the very opening of his scene as a kid in him looking at the Brotherhood armor. And if you remember when the Brotherhood, when they ask, why do you want the armor? He's like, to punish those who did this to me.
Yeah.
So who does he want to punish? Does he want to punish the Brotherhood?
That's what I was kind of thinking. Like, is this a ploy to get on the inside to do whatever to take the Brotherhood down?
Oh, see, I read that completely differently. I read that as the Brotherhood, something had happened, Raiders had attacked his town, or something had happened when he was a kid, and the Brotherhood saved him.
Yep.
So he wanted to join the Brotherhood to get back at whatever faction had made his life bad beforehand. But I think that's the more black and white way they expect you to read it.
Yep. And the reason I'm reading it the way I'm reading it is because as a kid, does he really know who caused it? Because we get after it happens to him. We don't get what his perception of the events leading up to it is, which I think is very intentional. So they can try to paint that as black and white for people. Whereas if they would have given us the pre-context to that event for him, it may have showed what faction caused that.
Yeah.
So that is Shady Sands, and that is the blast from the nuke. Like, we know that. So, like, why is the Brotherhood there? That's supposed to be the headquarters in the NCR. We know the Brotherhood and the NCR have been fighting. Like, that's common knowledge through New Vegas. They get pushed into the bunker underground because they were holding Helios 1, and the NCR attacked Helios 1 and pushed the Brotherhood to the bunkers. And that's when Father Elijah, if you remember, was in charge, and that's why Father Elijah went to Dead Money DLC at the Sierra Madre and is now in charge of that, and why I forget the other overseers that takes over. I always replace him with Paladin Harden, to be completely honest. I don't think he's a good overseer.
I never
not
made it
overseer,
to Vegas in New Vegas.
Oh, man.
I never played New Vegas.
I started it, and every time they're like, get through the desert. And I'm like, I don't want to do this right now. Maybe I should, though. Maybe I should go back and play New Vegas.
I'm waiting for a remaster. It's been long enough, and now that the show's doing popular, like you said, New Vegas 2, potentially.
Yeah.
I'm just going to hold out.
Have we had a remaster of anything from them besides Skyrim, though?
I think they announced the Fallout 3 remastered possibly being in the works. Not announced, but
Yeah, I know there's like mods to essentially remaster New Vegas. I don't know if that's coming out or is out. But
no, I don't think so. But New Vegas, even as itself, I've played it so many. It's story wise, Fallout 3 is my favorite, and it's also my first one, which I think your first one is always gonna hold a little bit more than the other ones. Other than that, New Vegas, gameplay wise, New Vegas is my favorite. I really like the faction base in New Vegas.
So far, do you think that the storylines they're going through on the show do feel, because they're not any of the storylines from the games, but they're very Fallout storylines.
Yes.
Because to me, I was watching it and then I was like, okay, cool, this is 3. Like that, you're hitting so many of the beats from 3.
Mhm.
Got to go out and save the dad. Seems like parents were maybe from the outside and you didn't know it. I think there was more, but it just kept going on, and I was like, this is 3.
No, they definitely tie in most of the games because like just the locations are 1 and 2. Brotherhood Tactics is actually not canon, so we can throw that one completely out. That one is not canon to the story in Fallout universe. So 1 and 2 is a lot of the locations and things and some of the factions. They do bring in New Vegas a lot in the series with some of the characters that we'll meet. So the big one is Robco. Robco is based out of New Vegas, Mr. House. So Mr. House is who owns, if I'm not mistaken, Robco, which is based out of New Vegas, and that's how they tie in at the end of the series, New Vegas, because that's where we end off, is New Vegas. So they do tie in New Vegas as well. So maybe worth playing through. And you can honestly beat New Vegas if you want just the story atmosphere of it. You could beat it in a day. It doesn't take long. No, it's people like me where I go off on weird tangents and just explore and do other things that I've probably gotten 2,000-3,000 hours into New Vegas.
That's the fun part of the Fallout games, though.
Yeah.
Like they have created such a big universe that they have so much to draw on for the show if they really want to.
And just so many other locations too, because it's like all of Fallout has been in the U.S. It's been solely based in the U.S. There's nothing been like, we know China was the other big player in the events of Fallout. So like the only Chinese like representation we get is the submarine in Fallout 4.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool. So we definitely see a Chinese officer, but like what's happening in China right now? And also like if all the nukes fell in the US and China, what about the other countries? What about Britain? What about, Italy? What about all of Europe and Africa and South America? So like the Asian and American sides of the world might be fucked, but what about these others that are just dealing with the fallout and the different ecosystem that comes from the nuclear fallout from the entire world? Is it so much questions?
Yeah. That'd be cool to explore too. I've always wanted a Fallout game in an actual forested area where not everything is dead. And I always thought they'd have to go way farther into the future for that, but they could just go to like Europe and stuff and see, well, maybe it wasn't as strong there, so you're still going to get some mutated animals and everything, but we could still have like full vegetation there maybe. That'd be
76 is pretty alive.
Yeah, I really got to play 76.
Well, even like if you play Fallout 3, there is a spot to the north that is very vegetated, very much trees and alive. You actually see a character from Fallout 1 and 2 in that location. And I forget his name. It's the ghoul that has the tree growing out of him.
Oh, I don't think
The merchant from
That
Fallout
sounds
1.
cool.
Yeah, so he's a ghoul in Fallout 1 and 2 who's a merchant. I forget his fucking name. I feel really bad. I want to say like Herman, but I don't think it's Herman. But he's basically got a tree growing out of the side of his head. And then in Fallout 3, it takes root, so now he's stuck in place. And so when you get to him, he's like, please kill me. There's people like worshiping him, and like there's a whole cult atmosphere with him, and they're worshiping it. He's like, please just kill me.
I think I have seen that. I don't think I played to that, but I think I've seen this in like a video on Fallout at some point.
It's in the northwest side of the map if you go back to Fallout 3. Which I know a lot of people don't go to the north because like northwest you have the Deathclaw City, which you just stay away from.
I love hunting down Deathclaws in Fallout because some of the craziest moments I've had in the Fallout games is the Deathclaws.
Yeah. I like how they did Deathclaws in Fallout 4. And I hope we see a Deathclaw on the show. And like because the Deathclaw is essentially the biggest, baddest problem you can run into. And seeing Lucy come face to face with that, because it's definitely not human. It's definitely it almost looks like a demonic thing.
Yeah.
And like she would know like this is not good. You can't reason with this. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
It
They-
takes out a fat boy.
They have to at some point bring in a death claw. Like they have to.
Speaking of fat boys, I was playing Fallout 3 2 or 3 weeks ago on stream, and I get to the point where you're at Galaxy News Radio, where you have the fat boy outside. So I pick it up because I'm like, I know the big super mutant behemoth is about to crash through, and I'm going to shoot it with the fat man. I shoot the fat man, and my whole like game just crashes.
Yep.
Mind you, I have a 4090 and a brand new AMD Ryzen 9, and I'm like, my computer do fine. This is how janky Fallout 3 is on new PCs. Just immediately crashes.
You can keep one old PC.
Or just I have an Xbox 360. Like
Oh, yeah.
I could get Fallout 3, and it's probably like $2 now, just if I want to play that. But yeah, fun times. Some of the jank is some of the fun too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd highly recommend New Vegas, especially going in later in the season. You might catch a few things. There, some of the characters from pre-war, which you would like, are actually in New Vegas and big players in New Vegas. So Robco and Mr. House, you see them in New Vegas. Mr. House is essentially Tony Stark, the Stark family. That's kind of who he is, just character-wise. He's just not. He's not a bad character in the universe, but he's also not really a good character. He's more of his own interest is what he's going for. So yeah.
It's on sale right now. There's a huge Fallout sale. So
Hey, go get your Fallout games. I've got the whole anthology. I've got everything you could possibly own Fallout.
I had them at one point because I bought that nuke that they did with
Yeah.
all of them in it.
the mini nuke for 4.
I didn't do that. So for 4, I almost bought. I worked at GameStop at the time, and I almost pre-ordered the whole like
Yeah.
gauntlet. But then I got to researching it more, and I'm like, you got to put your phone in there, and it doesn't really do anything because they were doing it like it connects with the game, and you can do this while.
It's just the app. Yeah. I did the same thing. I was like, ooh, maybe. And then I ended up not doing it and being really happy I didn't do it. I figured I'd just do a fan created one.
Somebody just made one, like a working Pip-Boy and everything, like a big company. I don't know who, but it's a rechargeable USB-C like Pip-Boy that you can wear, or just use like an alarm clock.
They look so uncomfortable, especially like when she was in her interview, seeing everybody like going. I'm like, that cannot be the best solution you guys had for this.
Well, the reason they look so uncomfortable, if I'm not mistaken from the lore, these are like one of the first few like prototype renditions. So they were getting the technology right as the bombs hit. So they didn't get to really refine it.
Yeah.
But
There's a lot of tech in that though. Still,
You could play Red Menace.
yeah, it's got the holotapes. Plus, she immediately, when back to the beginning of the vault and everything, when Lucy figured out it was like Outsider, she immediately just like
Yeah.
Buzz Lightyear laser blasted him and is like, oh wait, you're full of radiation.
yeah, so it had the rad counters,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is cool to see too. That's a nice little call out to the game
Mhm.
because it's the same sound too, which is nice. It's just hearing
Yeah.
that clicking. And it's nice to see how the flashlights work because like in the game it just emanates from the screen and almost like your screen gets brighter and then that's how it lights things up. But in the show, it's a flashlight that they point around, which I think they show, if I'm not mistaken, in episode 1.
They probably.
I don't
maybe
think
did.
so.
I didn't
No.
catch it, but
I thought they did during the fight scene. I thought she turned it on and
Oh, maybe
well, anyway, it's not a big
you
like
spoiled the flashlight.
yeah.
there's a flashlight.
It's a we all know the Pip Boys had flashlights,
Yeah.
but it's nice to just see how it
Yeah.
works in a live action and not a game. Because the game is much the screen gets brighter and that's
Yeah.
how it projects. Whereas this is a flashlight, like you mentioned, where she pointed with the radiation thing. It's the same way with the flashlight; it just points and it lights up.
I forgot there wasn't really a full flashlight, and I think I was playing 4 again, and I was like, "How do I turn on my flashlight?" And then it was just all green, and I was like, "Oh yeah, there's not one, is there?" And then I couldn't remember how to turn it off. And going back to those games after you haven't played them for a while is sometimes a little.
I know I had somebody they mentioned like, I haven't played this in like years, and they're like, should I just restart? I should probably just restart. I'm like, yeah, if you haven't played in years, restart it. Just get
Yeah.
get the whole experience again.
That's why I've started 4 like 5 times.
Yeah.
I loved 4, man. I played it back when it first came out, and it was super janky and like.
How was the ending?
I didn't beat it. I don't beat games, okay? I play them, and then I don't beat it. So, like you were saying, like you don't want to know how many episodes there are. Yeah, I don't want to know when a mission's going to be the last one because I just won't do it. I'll just stop. I'll go do other stuff instead.
That's Fallout, and it definitely Fallout. You can tell it's getting to the last mission in the games. My gripe with Fallout 4, I enjoyed the gameplay. I enjoyed the customization that they added in. I enjoy building out some things. However, the story pisses me off a lot.
I thought it was going to be the dialogue because I don't think they did as good on the dialogue on 4 as they did in all the others.
Yeah, I don't like the voiced protagonist. I like being able to put my own voice to it. And like, don't get me wrong, the voice actors did a great job. And I love the sarcastic responses. I will always choose the sarcastic responses because they're fucking great. The voice actors do a great job of being sarcastic pieces of shit. It's funny. But like not having my own voice almost takes me out of the world. So like I like when I'm playing games like this, I like getting immersed. I like feeling like I'm in the world. And I think Fallout has always done a really good job of that. One, because the character customizations, the character, it almost embodies you in video game form. And I think giving that player, the character, a voice almost breaks that wall to where you're no longer in the game.
My main thing was just there seems to be less options based on your stats than there were in previous games. And I always thought that was super fun. But
I'm getting that with Baldur's Gate 3 now. There's
there's so many Baldur's games.
there's a lot. No, but my real complaint with Fallout. All right, listen. Fallout 3, go find your dad. Fallout New Vegas, go find the guy that shot you in the head. Fallout 4, go find your child. Fallout TV show, go find your dad. Stop using the go find trope. Fallout 76, go find this person that's ended up somehow dead to find the next person that's somehow dead to find the next person that just died. Like, stop using the go find me storytelling narrative. It's old. It's overdone. Fucking stop, Todd Howard.
I was going to say, well, at least we have different storylines in this one. Because, like, yeah, that's Lucy's. And that's what I was saying earlier. Like, no, it's none of the Fallout games story, but it's a very Fallout story. But Maximus's is, yeah, go find this guy from the Institute. Like, the other, and the ghouls also, hey, go find this dude from the Institute.
It's very much go find the bounty.
Yeah.
And then the bounty dies. Okay, go find his head. Cool, the head gets stolen by your scribe. Go find your scribe. Stop using the go find storytelling. It's honestly, I don't know if they're doing it on purpose now just to poke jabs at it. But as somebody that's watching it and getting the narrative, it's so overdone. It pisses me off. And it's not to the point where I don't want to watch it, but I get so annoyed every time where I'm like, and they mention it so many times, like, let's go do this. Let's go find this. Let's go find that. Let's go find this. And like, I even think later on in the story, there's a point where they mention it like 3 or 4 times in the same like setting. So the same scene. So they're in a location and they mention it 3 or 4 times in that location, which spans maybe 10 minutes of the show.
Yeah, it's a bit much.
And I'm like, yeah, so Bethesda, please, for the love of God, stop using Go Find Me. If you make another Fallout, make it have a good story.
Starfield, just go find yourself.
Really? At least Elder Scrolls isn't go find.
Yeah.
Like in Skyrim, it was go tell. Go tell the person, not go find the person. You know where they're at. Just go tell them.
No, Skyrim was just go into this dungeon. It's gonna have Draugr. Go into the next one. Yeah, same thing.
Or it's go find the people that teach you how to use the voice.
I'm gonna need you to walk up these like 300 steps, okay?
Up the side of the mountain, the tallest mountain in Skyrim. Yeah, the throat of the world. That's what it's called. I don't know. I really enjoyed Skyrim. I remember when Skyrim came out, and I remember seeing dual wielding magic.
Oh, insane!
And that blew my mind. I think how old was I? Came out in 2011. Mm-hmm. I was born in 93. I was almost 20 years old. I was like 17, 18. Yeah. Skyrim was great. I'm honestly the reason they've probably made it like on every single console after. I've got it on the Switch. I've got it on the PC. I had it on the 360 originally. I had it on the PS3. I had it on. Yeah.
You're the problem. Stop playing the same game.
I might have 10 hours in Skyrim. Ever.
That's it?
I can't do it. I get to the first village and I'm like, I'm bored out of my mind.
Just go do something else. You don't have to follow the story.
Exactly. Just don't do the story.
Yeah.
My original save got deleted. So after the game came out, I don't remember how long after, but they had an update that broke a whole bunch and deleted like half of everybody's saves. And my original save got deleted, and I had already done all of the colleges, and I have not been able to go back because that was killing it.
What game did that? There was a game on PS4. I think it was No Man's Sky that was bricking PS4 Pros.
Oh Jesus!
That were bricking it, and I actually had my Sony rep at the time told me like, don't tell everybody, do not play No Man's Sky at the time. I think it was No Man's Sky because it was physically bricking the consoles. I'd hate to be Sony and have that lawsuit because you're going to have to replace a lot of consoles with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back to Bethesda things. All right, so the ghoul is last we need to talk about, which luckily I think he got the least amount of screen time.
Yeah.
I was surprised by that because I was really excited to see his. And I mean, if we count his screen time in the beginning,
Yeah, true.
I guess it kind of adds up. But
Which we can talk about that too. So the beginning is just him as, I guess, a washed-up movie star.
yeah, like very just cowboy movie star, but now doing birthday parties.
Where they ask him to do the thumbs up, which I didn't catch until like partway through the episode. Then I remembered back. I'm like, oh, they mean the.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean thumbs up? Like,
I thought the same thing. I was like, okay, so he has some thumbs up thing. That's weird for a cowboy, but okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
and then I remembered the Fallout, and I'm like, oh yeah, they probably mean the. And then I will say later on they go into more detail about how that came about, and so it makes a lot more sense later on.
Well, we got his background drop some that he was in the Marines, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was. Oh, that's another thing I forgot about. We'll talk about later too, because he does mention more about being in the war, and they don't go into too much detail about how it affected him. But there is a point where he's talking to a guy about why they were losing so many people in the war. It's very cool to see, and like the guy he's talking to just does not click in his head or get the issue. He's a very much an idiot. And it's funny. But so yeah, we get the backstory. His daughter, and they mentioned the thumb thing with the cloud, and we all know it's coming.
Yeah.
And I think this is the one thing Fallout does really, 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 really fucking well. Like you get the thumb, the we know the bombs are dropping sometime. We know this is pre bomb drop, so we know sometime in the show because it happens afterward. This isn't a pre-story of the bomb, so how are they going to show that? And just watching him ride the horse down the mountain with after his daughter does the thumbs up and seeing everybody jump in a car. I think the family whose house is there was going into their bomb shelter or something and like punched that one guy and like
Yeah, it's just their friend just like, no.
I mean, listen, the world's ending.
I mean,
like,
yeah.
if you've stocked up for your family, you got to think about your rations only last so long. Like, I get it. I would do the same thing if I had a family. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go figure it out yourself. You should have been prepared.
I already figured it out. Good luck.
Yeah.
Well, the mom during the party and everything, seeing the news stories and everything, and then just, nope, we're going to be happy. No, we're not looking at this today. And then when they go to turn it on the next time, you see the news anchors like losing it. So, and they were just like, no, I can't do this or whatever he was saying, and her being like, no, we're going to change it again. It was a really realistic way to just see it and everything. I really liked that.
Almost ties it back to Fallout 4, like you said, because if you remember the news anchor, they're like, we can confirm bombs have dropped. And you're like, oh, shit. And that's when Fallout 4, you're like, oh, shit, this is how it happens.
Yeah.
And then you're running through, and then when you get to the platform in Fallout 4 that goes down into the vault, you just see it to the south, right next to Boston.
I thought it was crazy that his daughter was the only one who saw the first bomb fall. And I don't know if that was the first one like of the war or just the first one in their area, because I don't know when they all fell, specifically. But her being the only one to see it while everyone else is in the party, and I was like, when are they gonna notice? And then her just being like, oh, is it your thumb or mine? 'Cause she's so scared 'cause she just learned this, and him just being like, no, it's just a fire, and then like watching it.
Yeah, but I want to know what happened to his daughter.
Yeah, it can't be anything good.
Yeah, no.
It's got to be horrible. It's got to be so sad.
Maybe it's not. Like, I mean, we very much, if we don't know, they've done a good job of showing do not assume
Yeah.
if you don't know. Because, I mean, what turns him into being this person who is a family man who is very much, like, we knew he was in the war, he can do bad things, but he has a moral compass in pre-war. And then we see him getting out of the grave and just killing people to be killing people. Like that's some moral ambiguity. Like I wouldn't just wake up and start murdering people.
Well, they had said that he was kept there, and they were like waking him up every once in a while and like hacking off parts. Like
Something like
what
that,
were
yeah.
they keeping him for?
Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know what the hacking off parts, like his body doesn't really grow back. So what are you hacking off? Like,
Yeah, I thought that's what they said they were doing, but then I don't know what they could have been just using a ghoul for. Like, what were you getting from this?
And how do you like the IV bags?
It was good.
So that's a call out too, by the way. The IV bags are very important for him.
They seemed like they were probably giving him something to keep him alive.
Yeah.
But is the chicken thing in the games? I've never heard
No.
the chicken thing.
I really wish after he killed them all, he just picked up the chicken and put it on his shoulder and walked away.
Yeah.
Like, this is my chicken now.
And it's like, what happens to the chicken? Does he eat it? What does he do to the chicken? I will say, spoiler alert, they never mention the chicken again.
Damn it.
That's all you get of the chicken. Unless I forgot, you don't get any more of the chicken.
We need more chicken lore.
Yeah.
If anybody knows.
And also, the chicken was not radiated or anything. It was just a
Yeah.
normal fucking chicken.
It's just a normal chicken. We just get one of the character title cards. It's like the chicken.
I need it in my life now. What happened to the chicken? Why are chickens normal? Like even the roaches are radiated. Chickens are the new super animals.
At least make it glow or give it a second head or something. Like, you don't have to do much.
I didn't even catch that. That's just a normal chicken.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe it was an oversight of the movie production. Like you have all these amazing creatures. Regular chicken.
Maybe
Bethesda comes back and they're just like, we never put chickens. What is this chicken?
maybe they just like real answer. Maybe they froze the eggs that they had that were still good or something and kept them in like a vault. Because there's got to be livestock they kept safe, and then that way it would be normal. Maybe,
You're telling me this is a cryogenic chicken?
maybe that's how they started, and
No,
then
it
they
does
just
make sense.
yeah.
Could be.
Because the vaults that we saw, the 30s, I'm just going to say the 30s. Because if we
Yeah.
have 31, 32, and 33, I'm just going to assume all of the 30s are in there.
Well, we know that it goes up to like 111
At least, yeah.
At least so, and then we get like 87 and 86. So we get other faults. So there has to be at least 121.
Yeah.
Or something.
But I'm saying in that group of vaults that we see in the show, I'm gonna guess it's just all of the 30s. They did 10 vaults in there because when they're leaving and they get to the main exit door, that elevator goes down for so far, and I
Yeah.
assume now it's just an assumption, but I assume that's going down to all of those vaults that are kept together there. That's my theory at least.
Could be.
So if they just did all of the 30s are this, they had seeds and everything growing, so why wouldn't they also keep livestock?
Chickens are easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
could-
don't eat as much as like cows.
Very true. Yeah, that would be my concern. Like with some of the livestock, like horses, cows, and the bigger livestock, there's too much resources.
Yeah, they're
for
gonna
them.
eat too much. Chickens aren't too crazy.
I mean, but they could definitely store DNA, frozen DNA, and clone it. Like we know that they have cloning technology, if I'm not mistaken, in Fallout.
And the cryopods from 3 or 4.
Yeah. So I don't think it'd be beyond reason that there's ways of bringing creatures back from pre-war. We also know, I think, in Fallout lore that the Enclave was working on a spaceship to send up, and that was like the U.S. Army's answer to nuclear fallout is just to go live in space until they can come back down.
I didn't expect us to get the Enclave in this.
I had, yeah, that was, which I know because the Enclave is in Fallout 1. The Enclave is actually one of the main antagonists in Fallout 1. If y'all played it yet?
We didn't play it much.
I played quite a bit, but I didn't get to there because I couldn't. I kept running out of time
It's okay.
because I was exploring too much,
Yeah.
and man, I just kept running out of time. So I got to, you go to the one big town, and then you have to take the message over to like more like the Raider town, and I was in there, and I was like another step past that.
Okay.
But then I got caught up in the side story of the guy who was like, I sell this meat. And then I go to his supplier and I'm like, you're eating humans.
Was
I
it
got caught up
called
in that one.
Strange Meat?
No, I think he sells it just normal, actually. Like, he claims that it's... I don't remember,
So
honestly.
I hope they keep this in the show if they mention, because they've mentioned like cannibalism is a thing.
Mhm.
I think they even mentioned the cannibals and the raiders like eating people. In the games, it's never called human meat. It's always called strange meat.
Yeah.
And so it's like even like with Jet, Psycho, and things like that, they're based off of actual drugs in real life. But and it's just the funny backstory to this. Australia banned the game completely. And so that's when instead of being like codeine and morphine, that's why they changed it to like Jet, Psycho, and all that. So that way people in Australia could play it. So now that's how we got the names of the drugs that we have.
I had no idea. I like it better this way, though.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
like, we have stim packs and everything. If they were just like, this is morphine, I'd be like, this isn't as cool.
Yeah.
Which, seeing her take out the stim pack and stab it, like, directly into the wound, in the game, you don't have to stab it directly into the actual wound. That was so much more, like, visceral and terrible looking.
Yeah. Which now though, how does it work? Like, does it stimulate cell growth and that's how you heal so quickly? 'Cause
Yeah.
that would be cool.
I don't know. Or does it just numb it up? Because she was still stapling her wound shut.
Mhm.
Like, we still see that. So she's still got to actually heal from it. It didn't just magically heal her.
Yeah. Which also doesn't make sense because like in the game you just stab yourself.
Yeah,
and
you're just good.
you're fine. But that's that's a game and not real life. But they put so many other things from the game in there. Like, why not keep the nonsense of like the stim pack working that way? Like, don't try to make it too realistic because some of the enjoyment is the fact that it's gamified.
Maybe they were worried that it would be too easy to like heal characters that way, and like them getting hurt or damaged later on wouldn't be as severe.
Yeah, but then you could there's a scarcity. Like, you just don't find stim
Yeah.
packs. Like,
Well, I was talking to someone who has never played the games, and I think if you haven't played the games at all going into it, this would be really like off-putting and weird if you went too far into the game
Yeah.
side of it. For the first part of Lucy's storyline, when they're in the vault before everything goes down, I was surprised by how bright and everything was. Like, it was very over the top, like almost cartoony, with like how bright everything was and how clean everything was and how like CGI and everything and perfect everything was. And it was taking me out at first when I was watching, and I was like, I don't love the the way they shot this. And then when everything starts going down and it gets more dirty and everything, I'm like, oh no, okay, I see why they did it. I see that they liked it, or like why they did it. I like that. But I think if you pulled in too much from the game, the entire show would almost have that feeling.
Yeah, I could see that.
They did already shoot a doll at somebody.
That was
Yeah, that was great. I love the junk cannon. I never use it in the game myself because it's just stupid. But I love that they're adding stuff like that to the show. I also love how they did every single Fallout game gives you this moment of here is the world, and it's a blinding light, and then here's the world, and they added that to the show, and I was fucking ecstatic when Lucy opens the vault and walks out. It's just a white screen, and then it starts eyes correcting, and it does that whole like transition, and then you can see, and I'm like, yes, that's what makes Fallout opening so great. Because I remember as a kid in Fallout 3 opening Vault 101 for the first time, and you step out and you're on the cliff and you're overlooking DC. It's just one of those moments that you do not forget playing the game.
I didn't know where the show took place before this because I hadn't looked into the show very much. I just knew, hey, Fallout show's coming out. I'm gonna watch it. I didn't know where it took place, and then her stepping out and seeing the pier behind her, and I was like, "Is that Santa Monica Pier? Are we like right on the coast?" Like,
How's that Ferris wheel still standing?
well, I was looking
Very well built.
I was looking for the rest of the rides and stuff, and then I went back and looked at it, and I was like, "Oh no, you can see them! Like they're there."
Yeah, it's really cool, and I don't know how much. Well, we obviously know it ends in New Vegas, so how much of the show, parts of California, and they even talk about, like pre-war, you're in Hollywood. 'Cause we see him in Hollywood, don't we? Or is he's just on the mountain? It's in LA.
I think he's on the like hills, like Beverly Hills type.
Okay.
Yeah, it seemed like that kind of area because it was a really rich family.
And it was overlooking like the city and everything. And I've been there in GTA 5.
I've been there in GT5. I have not been to California in real life, so it's hard for me to talk about.
Okay.
I want to go one day.
If you've played GTA 5, they did very well.
We actually got invited out to the 100 Thieves compound.
Oh wow,
And
that's cool.
want to make that trip, but we haven't made that trip yet.
I don't know why it's surprising me you haven't been to California because you haven't been out here that long. But
2 years.
Yeah.
But like my other job, I was work from home, and I did all my PTO went to the esports team that I own, and so now that I work full time with this kind of things, it's funny how much my time is opened up and not opened up at the same time.
Yeah.
I actually work more now, but it's a lot more work centered around stuff like this, and so that's nice. Yeah, well, I think we've talked about everything on the show. Does anybody have any last inputs? It's gonna be like the longest show episode we've ever done.
Make better quests, Todd Howard. The main story.
No, don't make better quests. The side quests are fucking fantastic.
Make the side quest the main quests, which is how I play the game anyways.
Yeah.
so.
So, I think that's really how, and I think that's why they don't spend so much time on the main quest because they know everybody's just doing side quests anyway.
The meat and potatoes is the side quest.
Yeah.
I know it'll come up more in the other episodes, so we'll definitely talk about it when it comes up more there. But I'm interested. The raiders that broke in clearly knew Lucy's family.
Yep.
I'm interested about that.
Yep.
And the fact that all of our groups, besides Lucy, are going after kind of the same thing. I want to know who this guy with dog is. If you watch the after credits thing, I mean, it kind of shows us who his actor is, but I want to know who he is specifically.
So we see the dog, and like it took me a second. This is my last input. We have dog meat in the game. Dog meat is a German Shepherd. I have had German Shepherds all my life. I love German Shepherds. I have one right now. Her name's Amara. She's a black German Shepherd. But I was really disappointed that they chose a Belgian Malinois. Because people, if you don't know the difference in the breeds very much, it's like crack cocaine meets weed. So like German Shepherds are very much laid back
Yeah.
and can be reasoned with. Belgian Malinois are like on cocaine, balls to the wall, just doing things.
I wanted one for a while until I was just like, I can't do that, actually. No, it's not possible. But it kind of makes sense, too. They're the police dogs, so...
Actually, no. The
No?
reason they're not... Well, some Belgian Malinois are used as police dogs, but the reason the police use Shepherds over Malinois is once you unleash a Malinois, it has almost zero recall. So you can teach it to do something, and it will do that better than the Shepherd most of the time, but it will not stop.
Gotcha.
So-
0 to 100.
Yeah. It is very much... it's kind of like the Belgian Malinois have ADHD and OCD, and so once they start, they don't stop. Whereas the Shepherds, they're just moody. Like once you get past the moody, and they're like they don't want to do things because they're stubborn. Once you get past that, and they very much so like Shepherds build a bond. So even in family atmosphere, they'll take up with one person, and that is their person. They love the other parts of the family. They'll protect the other parts of the family, but you know who the one person is.
A lot of dogs seem to do that. Like, dogs always have their favorite person. My dog's favorite person was my uncle and not me, and it was very obvious.
That's my dad. So my dad and stepmom got a Shepherd, and it was supposed to be for my stepmom. No, it's very taken up with my dad. And my dad's like, I don't care for dogs.
No, my dog loved me, and it was obvious. Like, we were great and everything. But my uncle could be like, get her, and she'd like come over and like fake get me, like, and it's just like, you're my dog.
That's so we have my roommate has a border collie. And it's really funny. We'll say get the cat. And it's a border collie. So she'll herd the cat. Like she won't even try to bite or anything. She'll just go up and nudge aside and make him move. It's the funniest thing. And you can tell the cat's just like, again, stop it. He's so sweet. And he gets along with the dogs. And he just gets annoyed. He like walks up to me. He's like, can you make her stop? But yeah, so I think that's it, unless anybody else says.
No.
All right. Until next episode, as always, it's been.
Squid.
Panda.
And I'm Fight. See you in the next one.
Bye.